Mic on.
Good morning. I'm trying to play catch up. It's been a little bit um, too chaotic, I think is probably the best way to describe it. So, what I'm going to try and do is if I turn the reference mesh off, I have got a little bit further. Um, Honestly, not really my greatest moment. Um, Deploying the arms early. What I'm trying to do, I think, today is just block out the panels. I'm going to leave this cockpit part um, in for the moment, at least, um, until I can actually get my head around what I want to do. There's a lot more to do. Um, I'm going to try and do two parts today. I want to try and get the cockpit block, the panel blocks done today as well. Not detailed, not anything like that. Just block them out. That's the first part, mainly because I'm struggling with this and I'm waiting for some other information courtesy of your friend. So what I'm going to try and do is I am going to use the old interior to try and grab oh, that's all part of the structure. Um, so that overhead's wider. That's interesting. Right, so let's turn that off. Let's go to the top view. So I don't think what I've done there is particularly out of order. I could probably go on the other side of that bar. So let's do cockpit block. We're on default. So what I need is I need to grab a little bit more on here. So let's do a bit of symmetry. Right, so I guess I better explain what's been going on. My body has basically rebelled against my mind and decided I needed to sleep. I've not been well. Um, as I mentioned, there's a potential I may have cancer again. Waiting to find out still. Never seem to get this thing quickly. So I'm guessing it's as much psychological as it is physical. I've pretty much been burning the candle at every end and in the middle as well. So it kind of makes sense that my body just goes, "You need to sleep. You're going to sleep," and there we go. So that was pretty much me properly cooked. So I have probably slept um, I slept 18 hours yes, no 17 hours, 7.5 hours yesterday, or rather the night before into that and yesterday, and then last night or yesterday I went to bed. I went to lie down in my lounge at about 2 p.m. and I woke up at 2 a.m. So um, went back to sleep and again, and I've been up since about 4 a.m. I think. So it's been a bit of a battle. So let's just go to the back. So the interior here is no longer correct. Yeah, so pretty much slept out. I don't think I want to sleep for another couple of days, but we'll see. So that should give us a cut, right? Cockpit block. Let's just grab all of that. And I can turn this off now because we're not going to need that for the moment. So let's F to flip that. So what I am going to do is I think it's probably going to be easier just to thicken this. Let's go 100 mil. So 100 mil's too much. 75. What I'm aiming for is to do it on the edge of that shape there, I think. Let's just doing something off screen so I can grab up reference pick. I did do some work yesterday on both a commercial project that I can't talk about just yet. I haven't got a new assignment for the company that I'm working for at the moment, the part-time, so I'm waiting on that. And I'm about 4 weeks ahead on my university stuff, so recently got told I passed the first 3 units of my first module on my masters, so that's going to be nice. In the 90s, by the way, average on the 90s, rather proud of that. It's been quite a few years since I went back to university. Right, we're on Westland Seaking, so let's look at the cockpits. So I know that's 2 panels, it's kinked. So that's coming way down in front. But I think it actually comes down. Right, so there you go. It pivots off that panel. I remember seeing the maintenance thing of that actually being folded down and going, my God, I don't want to work that one out. So let's go 75 mil. Let's go 70 mil. Right. And all that effort is kind of pointless, really, but because what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab that block, polygon merge. From that block, we are gonna go and grab all those edges. I'd forgotten to add symmetry on then for a moment. Ooh, a lot of prime in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to scale this on 0 in the Y, 0 in the Z. See that black there? That basically means there's a bad normal. It should vanish when I merge these verts. So there is a buggered face up there. You can see the shading's knackered as well. Right, did I mention the plan? Alright, I don't think I did, or I started and didn't finish. Right, my plan for today is potentially 2 sessions. I'm going to try and get this one done. I'm going to run for about 2 hours. Because I have a call and I have some chores to run at around about 10:30. So we're going to try for that and see where we go. There we go. Right, let's fix that. This back edge we're not going to need. And the fact that it's actually curved is a bit of a problem for me. So I'm going to get rid of those lines. Yeah, so I'm deja vu, completely shattered at the moment. I think I probably have mentioned this. Anyway, the plan, 2 sessions. Let's try and get as much of this cockpit block out done. Don't think you want to really watch me do also problem solve on all this, all the cockpit frame. It's not really that interesting. And I say that largely because you've already seen what I was doing before. So I'm probably not going to stream that. So right now, the afternoon session is more about going back and fixing the interior back here, so we can punch windows through and get a move on with the interior and some layouts, some proper UV layout. Like I said, looking at some of the Reforger models, we may even go through that, and I'll explain why I'm a bit concerned. Is not the right word for it. I'm rethinking my strategies. So I'm gonna do a little bit of potentially naughty, because that's all on that line. So if I do that, see, that's a bit crap there, but I think I know why that's happening. Cockpit block, where are you? Yeah. Not happy with that either, but I'm not going to fight it right now. See, that needs to be up here as well. So that's 0 in the Y, 0 in the Z, X remains the same. Same thing again there. 0 in the Y, 0 in the Z. So I'm going to grab these polygons, get rid of that. That's a stray vert. So we've got 4 verts. Should be no faces. There we go. Excuse me. Gonna grab these verts. Do the same here. So we're gonna go 0. Oh, I'm on rotation for some reason. Didn't realise. 0, 0. So there's nothing wrong really with the polyflow here, but I don't like the fact that it comes down to a large number of very tight corners. That causes some problems with processing of tight textures, I'm told. So I don't know how Reforge's engine handles it. I've not had a conversation about the real technical side of any of this with anybody at BI. Rarely talk to anybody at BI anymore. Just up there busy. I've been involved in other things, so most of my friends already seem to have left BI anyway, and have gone on to do some pretty interesting things actually. Give me a job. Get me an interesting job. Because what I'm doing, as much as I enjoy what I'm doing, it's not particularly creative. I'm basically writing intelligence assessments for a civilian. I'm not allowed to say who I'm working for currently because it's part of the stupid NDA, but I'm working for a major defense news organization, and it's without saying too much, it's kind of political and it's a bit tedious, and it's not the best environment. It's not the kind of environment I like. So 36 polygons on there is kind of an achievement, and I am kind of wondering how the hell that happened. Geometry, vertex merge. So nothing's merged there. Geometry, polygon, unify. Force the unify. 6 polys are eliminated, so I'm alright with that. So if you look at the UV, again, this is part of the reason I liked doing this. Is you kind of if you UV as you go, you find the crimes or downright hostile crap. So we can see there that should be 1 polygon, but it's not. It's broken. So there's either too many verts in this. According to this, that single face there is 26 polygons. So something is very wrong. And I can see a double line here, so that's very wrong as well. Oh god, look at that. That's a mess. Model. Join. Oh, we're on edges, not single verts. So we're down to 3 verts, which is still way more than I was expecting. Ooh, wow, look at that. Let's get rid of that edge. So that's 2 verts. That's 2 verts. So I can come back here. I'll leave this just off this side so you can see what's going on. Let's go into UV. So the fact that that's not joined together tells me that not all the verts are joined properly. So there's 2. Oh, let's turn symmetry off to stop confusing the issue. Ooh. Yeah, there's some distortion or something here. Right. Just going to extend that edge out because it needs to pass through that border. So I'm just counting edges at the moment just to see if there's something that's not behaving properly. So these, let's grab that as well. So it's not joining properly, and it looks like you can see the crime actually. There you go. Now we're in perspective view. Bugger. Alright. See if it'll stitch. No. Okay, let's... Yeah. Not understanding exactly what's going on here. Which is not uncommon for me, I'll be honest. Lost and clueless is frequently my default state, so... Oh dear. So let's just... There we go, that's why it's not stitching. With a little vert in the centre. So I'm going to bring this back in, grabbing that edge, you see the blue line matches up. So stitch it there. So I'm just going to grab all of those. Because I'm seeing a little bit of a distortion there, you can see that movement. So I may have gone a little bit adrift with my verts at the top, but we'll see. Right. So I need to put my frame back on. Now this is where I am gonna cheat a little bit and use the reference. Yeah, so that we'll just grab it actually. See if I can pick that up. Okay. Actually, let's just do this in the UV. So if you go in here, right, so we want that panel. I'm going to grab all the combing bits. I'm going to grab all of that. So I'm not going to use any of this other than an approximate reference. So I can turn all that off now. Actually, let's just turn that off. Ref C-pit panels. This reference model is something I made in 2007 to 2009 era. This is the ones that was used in VBS2. So can't use them again. Don't want to use them again. If I'm honest, just the liability side of that is just a nightmare. So what we're going to do is we're going to replicate that to a degree. So what I want, we're going to have fun making that. I'm trying to find a picture that is backed out of the cup. That, I was about to say that's not Seaking, but it is. It's a very late model HC4, I think. So what I'm actually trying to find. See, that's not bad. And we can find the center line off that. It's not the worst. I hate those fuse panels. So my internal dimensions have changed a little bit compared to this old model. The original is a little bit narrower, but hopefully you can see this. The width of the panel is essentially the same as the distance between these two pylon two outers. So the difference is probably going to be about 50 mil. And I'm not overly worried about that in the slightest, really. It's just more about getting the center pedestal right and the spread. So what I'm hoping, let's just see if I can get a Seaking cockpit panel. So I'm trying to find. The Edward stuff is actually really very good, but there's oh, there we go. There was a trainer package where you could buy like cockpit, a cardboard cockpit mock-up. That's what I'm looking for. And it gave you kind of full details of what display was which. A friend of mine, when he was on Hawks, um, oh, I forgot we actually have. There we go. See, that's distorted due to the lens. It's not so bad once you get closer in, but yeah, a friend of mine took pictures of his Hawk cockpit trainer for me. They gave him basically a cardboard cockpit to learn the display and button layouts. I want something like that, but for a Seaking. So again, gives us an approximation, doesn't really. It's the distortion on it, but we'll save that. Really struggle to find anything that isn't distorted. Someone tried to tell me the other day that they had ashtrays in Seakings, but I'm not buying that. Smoking around any avgas or jet fuel or whatever is never a good idea. I can't believe anybody would be so bloody stupid as to allow someone to smoke inside a Seaking, because they were leaky, fume-filled bastards at the best of times. Right, I'm kind of leaning towards the Edward picture, mainly because it gives us proportion for everything. I'll tell you what, sod that, right. Show. Downloads. Storage. A4. Seaking. So I've just dropped some pictures in the Seaking folder. So what I'm gonna do is go to, actually I want to go to the back. Just gonna go on a new layer for a second. And let's grab this Edward image. Oh wow, that's a bit bright, isn't it? Cockpit panels. So let's go to about 85% transparency, because that was bright. I'm sat in a dark room, and that was just a little bit too much. So what I want to do is I am just guessing at how many pixels per millimeter at the moment. So I want this panel edge to be roughly in the middle of that pylon, that pillar rather. So where are we going to be? We're going down, aren't we? 4.25. And I'm using, if we zoom in, I'm using that center line of displays to try and line up. So I'm going to come in just ever so slightly and go 175. What I've been desperate to do, I've never managed to I've not succeeded in doing this, is find out what the dimensions for the devices are, for the dials are. There are some stock dimensions, but I've not found what the military ones are. I've only found what would be like general aviation. So I'm going to quickly turn the ref off because it does look pretty close. And back in the day I was purely guessing, so actually sod that, right. Let's kill that snap. I need some depth, so I'm just going to go 0.1 of a meter. Vertex set position, I'm going to set that on the center line. So I am going to bring that in a little bit. I'm going to grab the edge. I'm going to edge, bevel, turn the round level up to about 6, I think. Right, so let's quickly just grab that. I'm going to put that behind. We've got edge bevel, right. So what I've got there is, what's that, 26, so it's 13 faces, potentially 13 edges. So I am going to snap that, and I am going to right. Just join those together. That didn't like that for some reason, and it's because I'm on the edge there. Right. So we now have a messed up panel. For God's sake, right. There's 2 verts, there's 4 verts, so. Right, sod it. Set position X. There we go. And I go to geometry, vertex merge. Just checking levels. Right. So I am not gonna. Where's my picture gone? Oh, I'm on the front, right. So I'm gonna select that one up there. Just do a slight cut. I'm gonna grab that polygon, extend it down. I'm going to drop the round levels to 3. Suppress a sneeze. There we go. Right. So this is where it gets interesting. Or doesn't, I don't know. So we'll take that away. And we're going to take the back face off. Just to make my life a little bit simpler. Polygon. Merge. So, knowing how I'm going to make this, I am going to cut a hole here. I am just eyeballing this, I'll be honest. Because this is a mechanical attitude director, I'm going to have a sphere that's going to sit behind it. I need the extra depth. If you go and look at this, so that entire thing is essentially recessed to back in. All these other instruments are actually surface mounted. So that's potentially another one. Just a drift indicator, I think. I could be wrong. So that's a backup. So that one's going to need cutting out as well. So let's do the sensible thing rather than screw it up. So 95 mil. So I've just created a cube so I can draw around it. Now I just grab the polygons. I've now got a hole through there. Let's cut that. That's curved, but it's not. I don't know how we'd make that even work. That's rebaited as well. I'm going to go back a couple of steps to get rid of that, and then go Shift E. That gives me a center line to work with. Am I stepping ahead too quickly? Yes, because while the instruments are mirrored, they're the same instruments on either side, they're not actually mirrored. So that's there you go. Engine 1, engine 2, that's fuel pump and tank feeds. Data arrays, I'm guessing that's going to be for any secure information. Engine RPMs, engine temp, engine oil pressure, engine oil temp. XMSN oil temp, don't know. That's oil temp and that's pressure. So I don't know what that XMSN is. Hydraulics makes perfect sense. Need to have a word with a nice pilot that I know. A nice rotoring pilot I know. Right, sod it. So that's an interesting curve. That is something that is not part of this combing. So right. So I'm going to grab all this edge. Let's go to the right hand side. How deep do you think that is? It's going to be about 150 mil. So that's 150 mil. It comes up. Let's go up 25 mil. Now, I think let's see if we can. There we go. Right. So that is going to be, that edge is going to be roughly. Ooh. Grab that, come out there. So that's going to be the edge of the curve, I think. So when I ood, that's going to be, this is the cut here that I'm looking for. And my concern is, are we going to have enough depth to round that even more? I don't think we are. Let's grab that, scale that down a little bit. Because I need to be able to round that corner off even further. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So I just committed a crime. I need to hide that crime. Remove. So I'm going to grab that edge coming down at 45 degrees because I have my tool locked at 45 degrees. I'm going to just drop that there. I'm leaving a bit of an edge because I'm going to bevel this, so I want it to step out a little bit more. So I'm going to grab that face. I'm going to go, ooh. I actually measured that once, you know. I was really sad and had a caliper with me when I was at the helicopter museum. I was working on something else and I went to visit the helicopter museum. I just happened to have it in my backpack, so it wasn't that big a nerd that I brought a caliper to a museum. But we're looking for essentially that thickness, and I'm going to say 20 mil, just because. Oh, actually, we're going to say 25 mil because everything was imperial back then when they made this thing, and it's a nice number to remember and round. That looks far too thick though, doesn't it? So let's go down to 17.5 mil. That's a bit better. So I'm gonna drop a very, very small-ish bevel there. Actually, no, that's 20 mil, that'll do. Do I actually need to... Can I get away with doing this? Yes, I can. What's half of 17 and a half? So 16 is 8, so it's 8 and a half, 8.75, 8.125, so... I'm not sure if that's right or not, but it'll do. Just grab that vert, we're going to join that. That's in edge mode, so that doesn't work. So, triangulate. Again, The reason I'm triangulating at this point is so I can control how the polygons flow. So let's grab these edges. So if I zoom in a bit, we can see a bit more that's coming on. I'm going to drop that down to 2 round. 8.125. Okay. 8.5. Oh shit. Right. It's 8.5, 8.625, isn't it? Or it should be. Yeah, there we go. Near as damn it. Let's grab that because we don't need to there, so we can just remove that. Actually, it's going to be much better if I just bevel this. Get off. Right, there we go. Again, just merging these points, because what you see in a minute is when I come to do the bevel again, because it's triangulated in that area, it starts to mess up if there's not enough space to do the bevel, because the bevel will create further triangles. So let's go into edge again, bevel. .625. Again, let's just go in here, grab that, remove the edge, just check it's got everything. Yeah. I'm bloody moron at times. Okay, I'm going to leave that facing that way and flip the others. There is method in my madness occasionally. This is one of those occasions. So, let's go into the right hand view. We're going to remove this back edge because we don't need it and it's not accurate anymore anyway. It's going to need a little bit of cleanup. just made a shitload of mess. I'm not doing that. So I've just cut the bit that I want to retain out the way. So I'm doing this to kind of clean up the edges, but also to hide some of the crimes, because the way that it's extruded some of this away, it's not even, you can see if I come onto the side view here, see how that tapers down? It's not the worst thing to happen, but it needs fixing. But also because of the way that this panel actually lies. I'm going to stretch this top edge out and fix the way that the drift. Let's come back onto the right. Yeah, there's no cockpit kind of display there anyway, so, or no reference for me to guide on. So what I'm aiming to do, as you can see, I'm just pulling this out, is I'm trying to get this parallel to that, purely eyeball it. For no other reason that I know it will bug me if I leave it. So if I just turn this ref back on. So my cockpit panel there was much higher, much deeper. Don't remember whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, if I'm honest. So let's grab that. Oh no, hang on. Because I put the R cockpit panel in here, didn't I? Let's grab that, bring it in. Just check, you can see as the bevel, it's slightly skewed some of that. It's going to go edges, verts, set position X. So we've got no stray faces there. Yeah, let's do a quick unwrap, because I'll show you what we're actually looking at on the UV. That is what we're looking at the UV. It makes no sense. It's hard to grab anything. So we're going to UV. That's everything selected. It's just made an absolute mess. So let's do a mesh cleanup. Geometry, vertex, merge. So quick project from view to get that out of the way. That explains a few things. We've got two texture, two UV groups. So let's just merge those down. So again, project from view. And that just gives us that. So I'm going to grab the first part of this lip. Put a nice control edge on here, but I'm not going to do it for the low poly. Largely because it's just going to add polys where I don't really need them. So if I grab the rest of this, using what I've already unwrapped, oh, you can see that's where it all is down there, so I don't want to deselect that. I'm going to deselect that. So we've now got the outer. Now we've got my unwrap tool, that's all the inner. Now, it needs to be relaxed more. There's also, that's going to affect how it unwraps, which is the foot. So bear in mind, this is not the final unwrap. You can see how it's changed there. So we've gone to relax tool. I can change how many iterations it goes on and to relax. So I'm going to go 5,000. We don't need to symmetrize. Whatever. It doesn't need to be symmetrical. There we go. I can say the other word, but not the plural or the, I don't know, whatever it is. Right, so unwrap and relax, click on that. We've got to wait a few seconds, and you should see, yeah, slightly better UV, only marginal. So I can increase that number. I've bumped it up to 8,000. Yeah, it's not going to get much better. Come on. Right. So let's grab all of that. Just add a material to it just so that I know that I'm not dealing with a fresh face. That's why it's been added to the done material. Let's go on the back. Geometry, duplicate, mirror. So again, so a quick project from view to unwrap this. Again, unwrap. So I've got the bulge out again. So I'm just going to relax that again. This is where it needs to be symmetrical, and surprisingly it's actually there we go. So we can try that as well, but don't know if that makes much of a difference. There we go. So right, just going to move this roughly into the right position, and I'm assuming that when I did this original that I kind of got it in the right place, just largely because that is pretty much. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but the way that my head works, I tend to be very the right phrase is anal about how all this goes and fits together. So that should be 10 degrees. Oh, it's 15. It's more than 15. That's 17 and a half degrees. It's usually 10 degrees, which is that. So, what I need now, and it kind of renders what unwrapping any of this useless, is I need to extend that. And what we're going to do, I'm going to turn this bloody side views off because they're annoying. I need my working interior. So you can see I don't want it to hit any of the pillars or whatever, so we're going to tweak a little bit. Let's go back to the right view. I'm going to bring that back up. Going to extend that down. So you can see I need to bring some of this in. So I'm going to grab that, actually, symmetry. Let's grab that. And let's bring that in. So you can see I'm hitting the... Oh, sorry, that's the reference. Is that a reference? Yeah. Right. So... you can see it's eating in there. So let's expand this selection a little bit. I can live with that because I'm going to round that off a little bit. You can see where it's hitting there, which again I'm not overly worried about. I just don't need it to be there. So I'm going to move that down so it fits under. So we do this. Right, because I know what is going to happen as soon as I bevel this. Just going to grab that. So I need to grab that edge and merge it with that, or join it with that rather. Bloody edge tool rather than... Right. So I'm going to grab this edge, like that. Now edge bevel. So that's 75, that's 2 round, I'm quite happy with that. Again, this isn't really something you're gonna be able to see. I am gonna literally cut this off at the bottom, and then we're gonna fill in the gap at the back. Because you can, if we go and find a nice external view, you can actually see the panel from the inside, from outside, sorry. That's the base of the pedestal. Typically, so that's literally the side of the combing and the control panel you can see. So what I'm going to do is literally just slice that across there, clean up this back edge so it's a bit straighter and doesn't interfere with the bulkhead. And this bulkhead will get chopped and we'll bring that edge forward. Or we'll just we'll just probably extend that face down. Don't need that now. Let's just get rid of that. So I'm going to grab that, copy and paste. Let's pick that center point there, and we're going to turn it 90 degrees. I'm going to cut it, put it in this background LOD for the moment. So you can see I can now use this to slice. I'm just wondering whether to close all that off and not worry about it. either missed something there or wrong tool. Ah, symmetry was on, that explains that. So I'm just closing that entire back face. So if I go geometry, so we've got 39 polys there. Let's merge, that's on 1. Again, this is me hiding my crimes right now. It is not a final anything, so don't jump on me. There's a number of people have tried to do. Let's grab that. That's a bit alarming. No, I know what's going on there, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to work out why faces aren't kind of flattening, and or where they need to start flattening from. I don't know whether I've just made a rod for my own back or what, but... See, that is a flat edge going up. Not very engineer of me, I am just bodging so I don't have to mess with faces later on. So again, I'm just going to turn symmetry off, I can turn white plane off. I'm going to grab that edge. Something somebody else asked me, again, just while it's popped into my head. They asked me about where they could get Modo. I wouldn't recommend getting Modo at this stage. The company that develops it has literally disowned it. They've issued a 10-year license. If you really want it, or if there's something that you want Modo for, you can get a 10-year license for free for the full version of Modo 7.1. If you want to do it, you'll use it for like Arma. I'd recommend Blender. I don't use it because I'm an old, stuck in my ways, whatever I am. I need to transfer projects onto it. It's just that I have known Modo for a very long time and still use it. I've said this in the past. It bears repeating because not everybody wants to sit and listen to me through hours of waffle. So I will snip some of this eventually. Yeah, Blender, it's free. There's plenty of Arma tools for it that are being made by the community. And I'm sure there will be plenty of tutorials and guides out there at a higher quality than mine that use it. So, not that I'm sure this is a tutorial at all, but you know what I mean. Again, because I seem to be getting a lot of shit for this as well, but again, this is not a how-to channel, it's just how I do things. If you don't like the way that I do it, that's fine. If you have a better way, great, tell me. If it's in Blender, or the solution is just use Blender, go away in the nicest possible way. Off you F. Actually, I'm allowed to swear. It's not on for kids, so yeah, off you fuck. I've been baited enough out over these. I haven't learned, as I've just said, I haven't learned Blender, I haven't got around to it. It's on the cards. Just priority right now, it just seems to be getting some stuff done. Oh, excuse me, symmetry. when it comes to rigging, I'm definitely gonna have to I'm gonna have to use Blender. I've been told I can use Arma. Use blah 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 blah. Use Modo because it's platform agnostic. I know people are using 3ds Max. It just seems easier and more straightforward if I use Blender because that's where the tutorials are, and unless somebody wants to sit down and explain how to do it differently in Modo, I don't think I'm gonna get much help. So right, so let's grab that back face. Let's grab this. And again, not sure what happened there, but pretty sure I just did that. Oh. So let's go UV, hit the unwrap, stick a material on it. So you can see we've now got some things that are missing or adapted. I want to go on that one. I want to go on solid, on default rather. So it's missing faces because I've merged faces and added some, stretched some, blah blah blah. So again, very quick unwrap. Right, so happy days. That's that blocked out. We're an hour and 34 in, so it's 10. I need to move in about 25 minutes. So I'm just going to put a timer on my phone because I don't think I've got an alarm going. So timer for 30 minutes. 30 minutes should give me enough time to get out the door. Boom, 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 boom. So let's bring our cockpit back in. Right. So that gives us turn working off. So if we go back here, it's not symmetrical. It's just that this is one of the problems with, you know, all the aircraft panels. There's so much crap in the way and whatever. There's no center line. I don't know the exact model of that. I'm trying to find something that I can definitely scale from. Now, I can scale from one of these toggle switches because I have a couple. And you can find the dimensions of them really easily anyway. But what I'm looking for is, I'm assuming that's going to start at the bottom of the curve, and that one is going out to the curve. So we haven't got a bevel in there, which I'm not overly worried about, because I'm not sure all of them actually do have it. Oh, I could be wrong. No, it's beveled. That's beveled. Alright. I don't know where that thought came from, but oh, bollocks to it. I'm wrong. Yeah, I should just tell us a bit of dit here. These fuse panels are, it's like literally an RCD breaker you get on your home. You have to push it back in for it to get to work. I did climb in one in the Seaking, and it had that particular panel. It's a very old Seaking. And I accidentally tried to stand on it, and I got the bollocking of a lifetime. So, didn't do that again. Don't do that. They get very upset. Rightio. So what I'm gonna guess, I am just going to, that's the interior working. Int. That is the working CPIT frame. Working panels. So that's my overhead boxes. Which I guess we could do, but I want to try and get that center pedestal in. So if I look at the ref center panels, right. So you can see everything I had there was previously centered on, and that's not right. At least not for this model of helicopter that I've got, or this model I've got. So we're going to grab, bollocks, we'll grab all of that. Let's copy it. Let's drop that in there for the moment. So from the picture that we have, let's go in the back view because this is where it gets fuzzy. So looking at this, the frame for this needs to come out, and I'm going to go that it is, the edge of this frame is going to be where we have our sharp edge on the panel. So we're in the back view looking forward, so I'm just going to grab those edges. And I'm going to move them over here. And for some reason I've lost my tool. There we go. Right. So that is going to give us, I'm going to get rid that is going to give us essentially the first panel. So I'm going to get rid of that. So the issue that I've got now is how big is this other panel. So if I go back to my front view, see that I'm going to say is my overhead. And that's going to be the front panel that I'm talking about, and these are all the fuses. And that's insane. Because that's engine cut off stuff there, so that's not... See, all these changed with nationality. They're all... The layout is similar but not the same. So, Royal Navy, see there's 2 CDUs there. I mean, the box, the frame that it sits on should all be the same. So if I do that, because the customization is what actually sits in the frame. Because the frame it's literally, once you pull the instrumentation off, it is literally just like a frame, like if you've ever built a server rack, it's like a 19-inch server rack frame that sits underneath, but it's not 19-inch. Symmetry. So let's grab that. So I am going to make an assumption. It could be wrong. See, that's too narrow. So let's scale it to what we've got. And in this case, it looks, I'm going to go with 107.25, and then I'm just going to flatten the edge because it's near as damn it. So it's a little bit deeper than my original, I think. So that needs to come up to about here, because it overlaps ever so slightly. So we're going to come up, we're going to parallel, and that is going to come up, sod it, let's come up 80 degrees, which gives it a 10-degree slant off the vertical, which I'm fine with. And we can flatten that, which is 10 degrees. That takes us right out the back of the cockpit, so that's not right. So it could be that that was yeah, because if we look at one of our other pictures here, where's that picture with all the taken from the sort of middle of the back of the cargo space. So you can see it ends before the seats anyway. God, that would have been loud and cold in there. Well, I'm trying to find a picture looking forward so I can see where the back of the cockpit panel ends. I'm guessing. I mean, it's a long time ago. I'm guessing I guessed for. See, that's quite a long way forward. It's more forward than I thought it was. I'm guessing I guessed, basically, back in the day. I mean, I know for a fact that most people, when I looked at the VBS2 stuff, they were still using my original placeholder textures, so which is just literally masses of fuse panel. It's going to annoy me. See, that's maybe the back of the panel. I don't think it is. Right. I think that is actually genuinely about the right dimension for it. It's just not wide enough. So that's the overhead, that's the underside, right? So I put working int on. Yeah. I don't mind moving this back because we've got a bit more space to play with. So that's gone back nearly 62 mil. See, that's a different one again. I should have sorted these or at least named them properly for what they are. But it looks to be the depth from there to there looks consistent on pretty much everything we looked at. It's just getting the appropriate widths. Right, well, 1 hour 50. There's 10 minutes left. I just don't know whether I'm gonna be dithering trying to find this. Actually, sod it. Yeah, let's call it here. Gives it that way. I'm not rushing out the door. What I will be back on later on. I'm gonna try and get back on at the usual time, if not maybe a bit earlier. I'm going to try and do a couple sessions a day, maybe for the next 2 or 3 days, to try and catch up to where I want it to be. We'll see. I'm not sure. It depends what happens at this meeting this afternoon. Yeah, hopefully I'll find out if I can find out the make and model of the CDUs, the computers that they use. I will at least have a dimension to play with. So that face is actually the wrong way around there anyway. So we can at least start make sure that the cockpit shape is the right shape. On the cockpit panels, the right position and right shape, and that way I can block out everything else. I don't have a posed character model for the Reforger mannequin. I'm assuming it's the same size as the Arma one, and I have one of those, so I might import that in, or if I can find it and bring it in, and that will give us some idea of scaling and position versus eye line and whatever, so we can talk about that later. So that's it for the moment. I think we're going to leave it there. I will be back. I hope you have a nice day. Hope you have a chill day, no stress, and I will see you a little bit later on. Bye bye.